Well, good morning. I'm just out for a leisurely ride here. I thought maybe find a place to stop and do a little review of the bike thus far. Okay, well, here we are. Had a nice overlook here. So we can talk about what I think of this bike now that I've got almost 25,000 kilometers on it. The CRF250L Dual Sport. I'm very, very happy with the bike. It has performed almost flawlessly. I think it suits the type of riding that I want to do ideally, because what I want to do is I just want to, ride roads like this and get up into the mountains. So that'll do it, and it'll get me wherever I want to go, just point it and it'll go there. My skill is the only thing that'll limit me, so that's a work in progress. But the bike, let's see, I have done a few modifications. I have opened out the airbox, installed a EJK fuel controller, and I have tweaked endlessly on that to get the right settings. My airbox mod was to remove the snorkel and replace it with a 2-inch inside diameter rubber elbow, which increases the air volume by quite a bit, something like 70% increase. And then to further experiment, I drilled 2 1-inch holes beside that, and which I can tape up if they weren't right. But I left those open, so a little more air. I also modified the stock exhaust. I pulled the spark arrestor and modified it. It's about this long normally. I cut the tubing out that is between the actual arrestor and the plate and welded that back up so that it's now shorter, and it is then in the antechamber, the rear chamber, rather than going through the opening into the mid chamber. So basically it eliminates the need for the gases to cycle round back again into the mid chamber to access the spark arrestor and then out. So it cuts out one of the processes. A little less or a little more free is what it is. Also, what I did on the spark arrestor is, let's say I'm looking at the end of it, and that would be a solid plate, and then your screen is like there. So what I did was I drilled that plate out and then wrapped a screen over it and secured it with twist wire, baling wire, that type of thing. And the screen I used to put over that hole that I made was a screen from the old air filter, the backfire screen. And so that seems to be perfect as a spark arrestor screen there. So that gave it more free flow, direct out as well, and still retaining spark arresting, which is important to me because I ride up there and this is a very dry climate. The other thing I did in the air filter area was I replaced the stock air filter with a foam uni filter. And yeah, it's a 2-stage filter, so I like that a lot better. Seems to perform fine with it, same as the stock filter without the screen, it seems. Maybe a little bit more free-flowing. And it'll catch finer particulate, plus you can wash it out, and use Bel-Ray foam air filter oil for that. Some of the other things I've done, let's see. I have removed the pair valve system and plugged up the openings. I removed the system completely. I have in the past disconnected the O2 sensor, and I flip back and forth between having it connected and disconnected. Right now it's connected because I wanted a little bit better gas economy. I've got DID X-Ring, I think it's the VX2 Pro X-Ring chain. And gearing, I've now gone back to the stock 14 tooth and the Renthal 42 tooth on the rear. I found 1342 a little buzzy on the highway, and I like, you know, riding on the highway too, so that's a good combination for me. It's still got plenty of grunt for the hills off-road, so it works out well. I installed a Honda CRF250L folding shift lever, and that fits perfectly on the splines there. It's the right position, so that's a good addition. Zeta handguards, and I have the bend model, which I think is good because they seem to protect in a drop better. I think it makes more sense. And as you can see, I've got the Acerbis aftermarket tank, which I love. I mean, it is just so great not having to worry about, gee, how's my gas, you know? I can go over 200 kilometers with the mods on this tank and not worry. So it's pretty darn good. I like it. Yeah, the bike has run really well for me. The only problem I have had is with the cam chain tensioner, and you'll find links to videos on my YouTube page to do with that. It's failed twice. Honda replaced it twice at their own expense. So that's the only problem I've had, and I don't know why I'm so lucky to have that twice in a row. But because that's happened twice, I now have a Krieger manual cam chain tensioner on hand. So if this one fails, I'll put that one in and be done with it. Let's see, what else can I say? Pillow top grips, Pro Taper. Still got stock bars. They seem fine. And I use a Garmin GPS Map 62S GPS with a RAM mount. Got a great deal on that from gpscity.com or .ca for me, for the Canadian. I'm trying to think if I've forgotten anything. I don't think so. Well, I'm running Kenda K270 tires, and I like them a lot. I think they handle really nicely on the road, and so far they handle excellently on the off-road terrain that I ride in. So I'm pretty happy about them. Compared to the Dunlop D606, I like them a lot better because the 606 had a pretty square profile, and these have a nice round profile. So when you're on the road, especially on tarmac, you know, you can just lean the bike, you know, with a twitch, whereas with the 606, you could feel the tire resisting the lean. So they're more responsive. I like them better. I have been using Rotella T6 full synthetic 5W40 oil, and it seems to be working fine for me. I like it. It's a great price. It seems to perform. I had a leak down test done on this bike not too long ago when I had Honda adjust the valves, and at the same time as putting in the new tensioner, so he did a leak down test just as a precaution to make sure that there was no issues in the engine. And it came through at new bike spec, like within the new bike specs. So it was at 6%. New bike is spec'd at 2 to 6% leakage. So that's in all three areas, you know, like your intake, your exhaust, and your rings, you know. So that was good. I mean, it might also indicate that the oil is doing its job as well, right? I'm not pleased with this Motocentric tail bag. The zippers go. This is the second one in less than 2 years. Right there at the corner, every time. So it's a disappointment. Borrego tail rack. I really like the Borrego rack. It's good and wide. You can put lots on it, and fits nicely to the stock bolts. So you want to take your seat off, just undo those and pivot the rack up. Pretty easy. You'll notice that I paint this black, the tool cover, and the exhaust cover, painted it black. I think the stock white on those areas, especially this part, when that's in white, it kind of makes the bike look like it's got a fat ass. So I think the lines are better this way. Anyway, that's it. So catch you another time. And if I forgot anything, or if you have any questions about different aspects of my experience with this bike for almost 25,000 kilometers, let me know in the comments and I'll answer. So I'm going to go for a ride now. Oh, I want to start it for you so you can hear the exhaust note on the modified exhaust. I don't know whether it tells you much, but well, there you go. Little afterthought there.